and meaningful R&D. It is my proud privilege to introduce to you all an eminent expert, Mr. Karan Pal Singh, who is basically a mechanical engineer and at present a consultant with Helios Engineering and driving the Helios into manufacturing excellence, strategic business consulting, and primarily for operations, engineering systems, lean manufacturing, automotive, defense components, and project management, training staff and guiding management on operation excellence, technology, and innovations. He is closely associated with our institution as a visiting faculty for past so many years. He has a very rich and varied experience of 30 years working with leading multinational companies in the field of automotive, electronics, confectionery, software, project, precision components, and he has worked extensively in collaboration for business in senior capacity with Maruti Suzuki, Hitachi Japan, Agroleman Spain, Koch Media US, and he has headed greenfield projects and led teams in benchmarking, business process analysis, and operation improvement. He has also been a core member of project at JCT, Koch Media, and he headed technology project at SBG India Limited. I take this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to the expert and all the participating faculty colleagues from NITTR, all the four institutions, Chandigarh, Bhopal, Calcutta, and Chennai. So I don't take much of your time. The module which has been designed, the second unit consists of innovation, deals with the concept, types, and process of innovation, also builds up the rationale for taking up innovation. And Mr. Karan Pal Singh ji is the one who has prepared the videos, 3 videos for the second unit. So I took this opportunity and I could not find any better person than him to deal with this topic, innovation. So he'll be interacting with all of us on this theme, highlighting the need, the concept, types, and process of innovation. At the end, he'll be able to keep 10 to 15 minutes for question answers session. So I'll request all the members to be ready with their questions which they have to pose because he is the one who will be able to answer. So over to Mr. Karan Pal Singh. Anji. One announcement I have been asked to make that there will be attendance for this session and this will be in your chat box. A Google form will be uploaded. Kindly make sure that before you leave the meeting, you put your attendance. That will be available at the end of the session. So over to Mr. Karan Pal Singh ji.
Thank you, Mrs. Tulsi. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody who's present here today for this presentation. I hope you're able to hear me clearly. Please tell me if I'm inaudible or if I'm not clear.
नहीं आप audible हैं, very clear.
You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So my brief profile has already been given by Mrs. Tulsi. I'm a corporate professional. I've been in the projects and engineering for last about 30 years. That's what my background is. And today we will be talking about innovation. Innovation in the industry, innovation in business development, innovation for product development, and various aspects that in the normal corporate is taken today for advancement in business development. I think most of us are clear on the field and the point of innovation. it is very closely connected to the point of new product development with inventions and with technology management in the corporate sector. I will first give you a brief for some time on innovation, which I'll be speaking to you directly. And then there is a presentation that I'll be putting forth to you. I will be speaking along with the presentation a little bit. However, it is for most of you to go through also. And in the later part of the program, then I will be open for any questions or any queries or clarifications that you would like to put across to me. So coming back to innovation, today we are in a scenario where we are living in a world where even established companies, if they do not innovate and do not change with time, will fade away. We have a lot of excellent examples of big companies which were not able to innovate and change with time, due to which they have their business has suffered. They have lost their foothold in the market. The examples can be numerous. We have companies like the one in photography equipment. They were not able to innovate, where they were still sticking to like Fujifilm. They were still sticking to films of cameras, whereas the world has innovated and changed over to digital medium of cameras and photography and other mediums. We also have examples of phones, which were not able to, phone companies which were world leaders, which were not able to innovate and change with time and have faded away. Some of them are trying to make a comeback now, realizing that innovation is the need of the hour and they need to upgrade their act to survive in the market. Nokia, BlackBerry being two very big names, which are now floundering but have now again started activities of innovation and change to bring back themselves into the market. Now, a success of a company is, in today's scenario, totally dependent on its ability to innovate and innovate with speed. We are living in a world which is moving at such a fast rate that if we are not able to have innovation in our processes and we are not able to innovate fast as the changing time, we will not survive in the market. Every organization has to keep pace and keep step with the changes world over. In today, if we are talking and if our Prime Minister has talked about Atmanirbharta, we cannot be Atmanirbhar just solely sitting on our own business scenario and our own market here in India. The Indian customer, the client, everybody is aware enough and they need new technologies. You cannot and nobody will stay with companies who have prehistoric technologies working for them. You need to innovate and keep pace with the latest technologies going world over. Now, innovation is a second step in the line after invention. Just to give you a brief of inventions. Invention is any new product or absolutely new concept or idea which is brought in by a group of people or a group of scientists or a group working on betterment to bring better things into this scenario. Now, invention can be a new product which might not be commercial, which cannot be commercialized also, and it might be commercialized also. The point is here of the capability of innovation of an organization or of a group to commercialize that invention so that the person or the customers in the market are able to use it to the best extent possible and it is viable for them. Any invention which can be commercialized to the benefit of a customer in the right commercial terms, in terms of cost, in terms of technology, is called innovation. We have various examples in front of us of innovation and invention. I need not say to this learned group here, which is there. The innovation, primarily, just to take a little bit further, works on two major principles. Either of an innovation push or an innovation pull. Now, innovation push is a very, very prehistoric and an old idea where you develop a product, put it into the market, the marketing team works extensively to make that product successful for it to be taken up by the masses or the customers. Sometimes it fails and sometimes it doesn't. So this is the old concept of the push for innovation. The innovation resources that you have put into it might be lost. You might just have losses because the product does not succeed in the market. Now, there are also another concept of an innovation pull. This pull is generated by the market. The company or the organization needs to be smart enough and intelligent enough through its marketing and other market surveys of what the demand from the market is, and accordingly restructure its processes and restructure its own products to meet that demand of the market. Now, this is a backward driven project, which is coming from downstream back to upstream. And that is how the product will be developed to cater to that particular demand. So, this is the pull side of innovation. Some of the examples that we might go into the push and pull is that in push, in automotive, they try to develop a car which gives you slightly more features added onto it. They think that LED lamps might appeal to a section of the segment of the customers. So they are trying to push in a product with slight innovations. It's called incremental innovation to make the product succeed. Going back to the pull side, once, let's say, a phone is given into the market, like initially the pagers were, and the initial cell phones came, they were of large size, huge weight. The market itself gave the feedback to the companies that it cannot handle that kind of a product repeatedly, in which the product is so huge that it cannot be put in a pocket, they cannot be carried in the hand. And that is what the pull generated into the innovation of the cell phone companies to generate product or a phone which was compact enough, which was, you can say, small enough to easily carry, have the right kind of memory, and still do all the functions which were required of it. Further innovations, as we all are aware, took place in making it even more compacter, making the memories bigger, adding features like cameras and other things, which has made or more or less made redundant a lot of other products in the market, like a watch. Some people now have stopped wearing, most of the people have stopped wearing watches because their cell phone is giving them all the data of what a watch used to give. You have, in fact, a variety of data available on your cell phone, from your GPS location to your temperatures to humidity to everything. And it is virtually doing the whole activities of a mass number of products which have become redundant because of this innovation in the whole product range. Now, innovation is also a part of invention plus exploitation. So the invention, if rightly taken ahead, the market can be exploited. So the innovation is a part of invention plus exploitation. Uh, I will just give you a little bit of my presentation first, then go back again to give you a little more idea into innovation, and then we can subsequently move. Is this fine with the this thing? So you can please come up so I can just show the presentation and take you through a few slides of innovation. That's fine. So I'll just
It's fine, sir. Fine, sir.
right. So can you see this on your screen, please? All right. So is it now on the full screen? Right, okay. That's fine. So as gentlemen, I had gone through it in the beginning. The basic principle of the need for innovation is, as Peter Drucker said, that an established company is not able to innovate, is doomed and declined to extinction. So this is the main premise on which innovation works today. For the success and the ability to innovate and be in the market and not go out of the market and be shunted out by the competitors. Now, we need to go through as why we need to innovate. What are the triggers? As we were discussing just now, new markets emerge, new technologies emerge. There are also certain political rules which emerge. Now, one of the examples which we can say is maybe the Atmanirbhar. It's a political rule or it's a political demand. Or it is also a demand just to keep our industries afloat. Running out of road, in the sense a product no longer can be kept running because it is already gone. Like the color picture tubes of the older times in which it was bulky and big. So that's the end of the road for the color picture tubes. And we are into LCD and flat screen TVs. Change in the market sentiment or behavior. The market sentiment does not accept certain products and you need to innovate because the market behavior does not accept your old products anymore. Deregulation or regulation. There are regulations, like presently there are certain regulations which have been put on plastic bottles. A lot of products are now moving into the paper Tetra packs because of the kind of regulations from the Green Tribunal which are coming in. You need to innovate into new ways of packaging. There are fractures along the fault line. The fractures along fault lines are the product is virtually sitting on a fault line where if it doesn't innovate, it is bound to fail. Unthinkable events. The coronavirus is one of the biggest examples in front of us where it is an unthinkable event. Products have to be changed and they have to be innovated. There are, I can go into examples of, let's say, the skin treatment clinics. They have to change all their equipment where it is contactless rather than with contact. The earlier business way of working in skin clinics used to be a proper application through manual intervention. Right now, we have moved because of this unthinkable event of corona into contactless working. So we have to innovate our way of working. There were kind of sanitizers which had to be operated by hand. Because of this new requirement, people have now innovated and brought out applicators in which you don't need to use your hand to put the sanitizer, but you can use it by your foot. Business model innovation is another one why you need to innovate. Shifts in techno-economic paradigm. The techno-economic paradigm is right now. Like there are companies which are moving out of China. They have moved to India. They have moved to Vietnam. They have moved to Indonesia. Now the business community here or the basic organizations which are working here need to work and innovate for this techno-economic paradigm. The techno-economic paradigm is the American companies which were having installations in China have started moving out. But to keep yourself as one of the people in the scenario or in picture where the American companies shift their base of manufacturing to you, you need to innovate to be in this kind of a scenario. The architectural innovations. Architectural innovations also make you innovate to have a facility which will change according to how you work and where you work. So innovation, we have already gone through, is the creation of product of new or different characteristics or offer new and additional benefits to the customer. As you can go see from here, innovation is an extension of invention. So where we say it is a creation product of different characteristics or new characteristics, it means that something which is existing needs to be changed for the benefit of the customer by offering something new or additional. Innovation might involve modification of an existing product or formulation or an entirely new product. So it can be either of the things. It can be a modification of the existing product or presentation or formulation. And we should not only link innovation with just a product or a manufacturing item or an equipment. We need to understand that innovation is possible in services, in products, in the way the processes work. Every field is open for innovation. One of the biggest innovations that has taken place is in the banking sector. If you will go back 25 years, you had to fill in a form. There was a check which needed to be done. You had to give a check to a customer who would have then put that into his account. Now the banking sector has moved and innovated to ATMs where you can get your money out immediately. If you want to transfer money, there is NEFT and RTGS, which is online. And it is not only that the customers have benefited, but it is also for the benefit of the organization. The organization, in this case, the banks, have saved immense amount of money which they were spending upon manual intervention of these same activities, which is now being done through softwares and through computers and online. The cost of a manual check, deposit, and transfer used to be approximately 100 to 110 rupees. Now they are working at about nearly 5 rupees or 6 rupees through the electronic intervention. So this is how innovation in different sectors work. My idea was just to give you an idea that innovation is not only linked to manufacturing, but it can be also linked to services of other sorts, of courier services, of banking services, of finance. Everywhere there is a possibility to innovate and make the system much more better. The process of innovation, you can see this, is the cycle by which innovative firms routinely convert ideas to commercially viable goods and services. Until unless the innovation is not converting the ideas into commercially viable goods and services, the innovation will fail. So, as I had told earlier, innovation main requirement is to make it commercially viable, not only for the customer, but also for the organization where they are trying to innovate. So the innovative development it can be on the strategy, on organization, concept generation, on evaluation, commercialization of a new product. Entire steps can take it through the process of innovation. If we look into business product development, business development of new products, as I said, this is there based on two pillars. The pillars are invention and innovation, which we have already discussed. So let's go. These are some of the examples that you see on your screen, which are ideas which we have started from inventions but have gone on through the process of innovation to lead to today's scenario where we are using the same things but in a much more advanced stage. The bulb. We started with incandescent bulb, it went into tube lights, CFLs, LEDs, and the sorts. The bulb is one of the things which, after the incandescent bulb invention, has innovated through a lot of changes and become much more efficient and better. The wheel, a stone wheel, was invented something in 3000 BC. But what we see how the stone wheel has evolved and has been innovated into for carriages, for automobiles, and even for automobiles to the point of tubeless and then to the point of run flats, which is the latest technology going around in the high-end cars. Communication is another example in front of you for innovation of an invention which has been innovated to make it better, more efficient, and much more productive for the customer who is using it. From telephones, we went to pagers, to cell phones, to VSAT phones, and now smartphones, which, as I said, is carrying out a host of activities for you, which other items were doing, and they have been made new. As discussed, and as I just mentioned, the classical models of innovations are the science push, which is basically that the discovery is done, it is the invention goes into manufacturing, and then the marketing tries to sell that invention or the manufactured product to the customers who might or might not accept it. That it can lead to failures also, and it can lead to success also. The demand pull is the approach for innovation, which is actually coming backwards. That is from the customer suggestion. You start working on your R&D and innovate and invent the thing which the customers are demanding in terms of the features, in terms of the technology, in terms of the aesthetics. Everything comes from the pull which is generated by the market, and then it comes into manufacturing. Innovation today is also said to involve the capacity to adapt quickly. As I mentioned, it is actually products, processes, strategies, and organizations. They need to adapt very, very quickly because the world is moving at such a fast pace that if you're not able to adapt quickly, you will be left behind. And organizations which are innovative always keep in step with improving and innovating the products, processes, strategies from time to time. Traditionally, the focus has been on new products, but recently business models have also come to focus and which deliver value and secure profits, because eventually a business will only run if it is able to deliver value and secure profits for its investors and everybody in the whole chain of cycle. Innovation is invention, new and exploitation, new way of doing things which is commercialized, adoption of ideas to the adopting organizations. Now, what do we have the steps in business evolution? So, the business evolution is actually invention, technology, innovation, creating new or improved products, knowledge and learning, and uncertainty. These are the steps of a business evolution. Any business which evolves through time goes through this. There is the process of invention. Invention in the sense your processes might be invented. You might invent the way your staff will work, your processes will run, how the activities will take place. Then there is a question of technology. What kind of technology you will bring in, the new technologies that have to be added into your system. Then comes innovation. The existing technology or the processes or the products, how they can be innovated and what innovation you would like to put into place. Creating improved products and processes and services for this innovation. That is the next step. Knowledge and learning comes up, that you will acquire the knowledge and acquire the learning for these improved products and processes. However, still in the end, we all are aware that there is uncertainty. But this uncertainty, with all new ways of evolution of doing it systematically, bring the uncertainty down to a large extent. There is more certainty in the businesses and in the products and services that we do through proper evaluation, through proper business analytics, and that is how the business is evolving today. Now we come to the 4 P's of innovation. The 4 P's of innovation are the product innovation, which is the change in the things, products and services which an organization offers. The process innovation, as the name implies, the changes in the way they are created or delivered. It can be in the process of the couriers which are delivered to your home, which deliver things to your home. It can also be in the processes, the way they are done. The position innovation, changes in context in which the product or services are introduced. And the paradigm innovation is the change in the underlying mental modes which frame the organization. This paradigm innovation, in fact, is one of the most important 4 P's of innovation. Because unless the paradigm shift does not take place, the mental modes in which the organization does work, all the other innovations are not possible. So the first and foremost innovation that needs to take place is in the paradigm shift in the way the organization thinks and works. That is the most important. So this is what we had discussed earlier, innovation triggers. Now, how do we decide or factors for the faster adoption of new technologies? In fact, what I'll do is I'll just take you through a little bit of other things before I go back to the slide. I can, just a minute. Can you see me now, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm on screen, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Now, coming back to a little bit of some examples that we need to see about innovation. When we were just discussing about the way the processes are done, the way work is done. If we look into one of the biggest examples, Daimler was a company in Germany which was manufacturing cars at least 2 decades before Ford started manufacturing in US. However, Daimler had a production process which was very regimentalized and in a very, very structured way. Ford innovated into a manufacturing process which was faster, cheaper, and for mass production. That is the way Ford innovation took place. So these are two examples in the same business scenario, which is the automotive scenario, where Daimler was making cars on a very regimental and very standard way, whereas Ford innovated its processes to a mass production, cheaper way of production into the lines to give more number of cars into the market every day. Now, innovation can take place in two or three ways. Some of the organizations, to be on the safer side, do incremental innovation. Now, incremental innovation is that there is a process or there is a product which is already existing, and you improve or innovate on a singular or a smaller feature one at a time. Now, this singular or smaller incremental innovation is the way or a safer way for companies not to invest too much into innovation and still go step by step into evolving into a final bigger product innovation, because they are not very sure if they take or do the entire innovative process completely in one go, whether it will be successful or not successful. So many smaller companies go in for incremental innovation, which is a small process incremental innovation or a product incremental innovation to take care and improve the product and services. Now, the point here is that the other way is to improve existing functional capability. Now, does not come in incremental innovation. Only the functional capability of the product is improved. No other processes are touched. Whereas in the large scale, radical innovation, which we will go into the next, in a radical innovation setup, the entire setup from right from the R&D to the concept to the analysis to the manufacturing and processes, everything is changed in one go. However, as we had discussed earlier, the market pull demand of an innovation actually decides whether you need to go in for incremental or a radical. So if the market pull innovation demand is huge and you are very sure on the requirement of the customer, then you go in for a very radical innovation change. Whereas if you're going in for a push type innovation, then it is always better and safer to go in for an incremental innovation. So that is how two different types of innovations work out for organizations, and that is how the push and the pull models also reflect upon what kind of innovation you will take your product through. I'll just take you back to the slide again. Can you see the slide now, please?
Sir, presentation is visible. Just make it full screen.
Right. Okay. So when we go and talk about the factors for the adoption of a new product or innovation, how fast it can be adopted by the market in the case of a push scenario. So the greater the relative advantage of an innovation, greater the relative advantage means if the product offers to you a large relative advantage, then the faster will be its rate of adoption. It will be adopted much faster by the customer because you're giving a huge relative advantage by the innovation that you're offering. The greater the complexity, if it is a very complex innovation, the slower will be the rate of adoption. So if you go into a lot of computer programs, if they are very, very complex, then the adoption rate by the customer becomes slower. However, if it is a very simple innovation and the complexity is less, then the adoption is faster. This is an inversely proportional kind of a thing, the complexity and the rate of adoption. The greater the compatibility of innovation. Compatibility means if whatever product is already being offered, the innovation that you're offering is compatible to existing products or existing processes, then it has a very fast rate of adoption. The greater the communicability means you're able to communicate this innovation, the greater and the faster rate at which it can be communicated, and that makes the adoption rate much faster as compared to innovation about which communication cannot be done easily or made to explain easily. The greater the divisibility means the way it can be replicated into different products, not only one product. So if there is a divisibility of innovation, the adoption rate becomes faster. So let's say there is a software which has been generated for Android phones. And if it is generated by one company, it is applicable to all Android operative phones. Then whether it is Samsung or it is Huawei or it is Xiaomi, everybody will take up and it will be adopted much faster, this innovation. Whereas if it can be only done for BlackBerry, then you can understand that the adoption rate will be very, very slow. Sorry. So now we go into what are the factors for successful innovation. So successful innovation, a product will be more profitable if it delivers customer benefits better. That means, as we discussed, that the customer benefits, it's faster to market, it costs less to produce, that is for the organization, and costs less to develop, again, positive for the organization which is doing it. Then only it is a successful innovation. The cost management, while customer benefits is a principal goal, it cannot be accomplished at the expense of prudent cost management. You cannot be selling an innovation which is very, very costly and then say that customers are not able to take it up fast because the customer is not benefiting in terms of commercial this thing of the innovation. The market value, while time to market may be critical, it can't be achieved at the expense of delivering the features and benefit to the firm's target market values. Here it is from the point of view of the organization. If the organization's market values cannot be stuck onto, that means it is far under the market values of what the company had decided, then it is a loss situation or not a win-win situation for the company. So both the things, the cost management and the market values, have to be adhered for any innovative product to be successful in the market. Some other factors for successful innovation. There are 4 elements, which is customers, the customer need and aspirations. It has to fulfill the customer's need and aspirations. Then only the innovation will be successful. Technology, it has to be of the latest technology, cannot be an older technology. Competitors and suppliers, in the sense that the competitors, whatever they are offering in the market, your product of innovation has to compete with them or be of better quality, better technology than what competitors are offering. The suppliers, what the suppliers are supplying in terms of raw material and in terms of quality is also very much a part of the successful innovation of a product. There are some examples which you will see now here, which give you like customer needs. That was the first, if I go back, the customer and customer needs and aspirations. Your innovation has to fulfill the needs of the customer. So the customer need example here was the Ford Mustang Y generation. At the time Ford decided to launch this, there was a big demand for a powerful engine car by the younger generation. And that is why Ford launched this car, and this was a major hit by selling about nearly 50,000 units in 1 year. Same is the case for Dodge Caravan. This was a customer need. At those times, there was no family and fun vehicle available which could carry the whole family out together. And that is how Dodge launched their Caravan, which was a hugely success model. And these were all both examples of customer needs being converted into product innovation. Technology and competitors. Now, technology is, smartwatches are a big example of how technology can be used to innovate products and to give the customer more and more, which will make the customer buy this product. The smartwatch is a big example in which the smartwatch gives you not only your heartbeat, your medical conditions, but also the time along with messages and along with calling facility as well as GPS locations. So the smartwatch is one of the innovative products which has taken technology and played up to the customer. As far as when we talk about competitors, the car plane navigation. At one time, cars used to have just one dashboard on which the odometer, which used to give your speed and your fuel, were the 2 things which were available. The car manufacturers, automotive manufacturers have innovated not only their displays, but have started adding new and new features where you even have music systems, you have navigation systems being built in. And these are one competitor is trying to outdo the other by innovating his features so that he can sell more cars and get more customers in his fold. So these are two examples of technology and competitors. Now we come to beating the competition. Beating the competition is when we said that, okay, automotive manufacturers are coming into cars which are giving a lot of features. The new thing which was a disruptive market was the self-drive or artificial intelligence interface car. Google, Tesla, they have all moved on to self-drives and artificial intelligence cars. They're offering them to customers in Europe and in America. It's already a big hit. And that is how they are trying to beat the competition of normal automotive manufacturing companies. The future of the smartwatch is another beating the competition. We said that smartwatches are a part of what the customer wanted and how it was delivered. But even now, there are disruptive technologies being made available in which you will have much more at your hand than a watch, which will give you much more data. So these are the future of smartwatches, which is trying to beat the competition. Now we come to the biggest point which comes into this, which is the challenges. The point here for challenges, the biggest, as I said, which was the last point, was that the organizational issues and the organizational human manpower needs to be upgraded and updated onto the innovative challenges. Until unless that is not done, no organization or no company can innovate successfully. We cannot overlook the human element in innovation. After all, individuals and groups within the organization are the ones which drive the process of innovation. As in the army, they say that it is the man behind the machine. It is not the tank or the gun which fires the bullet. It is the man behind. If he's trained properly to make the whole process more effective, then only that process is useful and successful. That is exactly the case with innovation. And I think most of you will agree that until unless the human resource is trained, is brought up to date with the innovation requirements of the market today, and the organizational culture is set up with proper incentives, reward systems, and training, the innovation process will fail. If this is done properly, then innovation will be a part of all the products of what the company is working on. So the organization must develop the capability and capacity to innovate, adapt often quickly to the changes in environment as well as the changes within the organization itself. It has to make these changes in its organization itself, the human resource, which is the most important one. Now, what can be done? How can we do this? What can organizations do to make a successful, innovative team? So what needs to be done is they need to lead, they need to build ambidextrous senior teams. Ambidextrous means the senior team cannot be only working on 2 or 3 lines and have a very simple track that we will visualize, we will put the vision of the company and that's all. No. At the same time, the senior team has to communicate the strategy, has to allocate the resources and also train people. And keep in mind that innovation is a constant process, not a one-time process. The structure has to be put into place. Explore transitional and intermediate forms. We'll come to those slides later and we will talk about them. Incent. Incent is the incentive to the people. You have to reward them. There has to be an incentive for people to be innovative and to think innovatively. Build. You have to build for a new culture. You have to lay the foundations for a new culture, new expectations, and how the team can go from one step to the other. So how do you lead? The leading means that you have to develop a clear strategy. You have to generate energy. You have to build an ambidextrous team and make decisions. This is what means by leading. You cannot be ambiguous, you cannot be dilly-dallying, and you cannot waste time. So proper leadership will have a clear strategy in place. It will generate the energy. It will make an ambidextrous senior team, and it will take decisions on time. This is what's meant by leading. How do we develop a clear strategy? We have to ask these 3 questions. How will we create value? How will we capture value? And how will we deliver value? Create value is in terms of technology, in terms of the processes. Capture value is where you can cut down on your process costs and how you can make it more efficient. How will you deliver value is how you will convert these values to and offer to the customer of a new technology or innovation at a rate or at a cost where he feels to be in a win situation. This is allocating of resources, creating value, deliver value. So you have to have a very high value created for it, but you have to deliver it at a low value. So point here is that it has to be a value which is created, that whatever you're offering, the innovation that you're offering has a high value associated with it. But it has to be delivered at a lower value so that the customer feels that he is getting his value for money. This is an example of building ambidextrous organizations. There is an existing business, but you have to have in an innovative company another emerging business department which will work side by side with the existing business on the same lines with the same team. They have to keep on working simultaneously for innovative manufacturing, innovative sales, and innovative R&D. That is how ambidextrous organizations work. The ambidextrous senior team is both mature, operationally focused, high growth, emerging businesses. They must manage these. High performing senior teams also show a high conflict, high respect decision making capability. They also have high levels of trust and truth telling. That means the team needs to be very transparent and clear with each other. The ability to manage divergent incentive systems. There will be people and there will be resources who will have work at different incentive systems and career paths. So this team, the senior team, has to manage these people and these resources with the right incentive system and the right career paths to build an innovative organization. Structure. Now we come to, in leading, the final is structure. So we have to implement appropriately, choose the right people, and manage linkages. Manage linkages means the linkage between these people, different departments. That linkage is for the senior team to manage. Incent, as I said, is the incentive to the team. What is in it for me? The person will always ask. So you need to manage the balance of individual outcomes, objectives, and subjective measures, and for the people who are involved in this process of what exact incentives are there. Finally, transform the culture. Build on your core values, practice thinking of new ways, and manage from the heart is the transformation of the culture for an innovative company. Unless you do not build on your core values from top to bottom, the worker on the shop floor needs to think on the same way as the top management. The practice thinking in new ways, unless you do not think, innovation cannot be put into place. And manage from the heart. You have to manage from the heart because that is what builds trust between the work people at higher level and the lower level both. So that is how I took you through the slide, and I think we are left with another 10 minutes now. I have completed this. If you have any questions or any clarifications, I'm right here for you. Please throw your questions at me, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability and try to do whatever I can.
Some of the questions are written in chat box. So look at the top right side.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now?
So you can open chat box. So two.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are
Yes.
some questions there.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Karan Pal Singh.
I have, okay, let's see, should I go to the top and start answering?
Yeah. Can I ask question?
Should I answer from what the questions are here or as you say?
No, I think we have the participants. They can pose a question and you can answer. Go ahead.
All right. Please.
Go ahead.
Singh sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. This is Sahu. The innovation should be at the individual level or group level. Which one is most successful?
So actually, innovation has a prerequisite that if it is done with a teamwork and with a group of people, it is much more successful. Individual innovation actually is a scientific process which will not be commercialized. So innovation is always a teamwork. It always works as a team, not on an individual basis.
Sir, there are requests from the participants. Can we share the PPTs?
I can mail it to you, Mrs. Tulsi, and then you can please share it with everybody. Is that okay?
We would require a copy from your side, sir.
So I'll mail it to you. I'll mail it to you.
Thank you so much. And there were a few more questions. Over to the participants, please. There was a question. If an innovation has to be made for the masses, government needs to invest a lot. So what are your opinions, sir?
This is actually a catch-22 situation. Innovation is a process from inside in an organization. If we talk about government organizations, then obviously the government has to support. But outside also, abroad, if you go, there is an inherent need which the organizations themselves feel that if they want to put out a successful new product, they need to innovate. Or if they need to survive in the market, they need to innovate. So I don't think so. It's actually a process which the government has to help in. It is a call from within the organization that if they want to become leaders in their field or if they want to really have a big hold on the market, they need to have innovative processes and innovation built into their system.
Right.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, sir.
Actually, these innovations, if it could not succeed well or it fails sometime at a point of time, then how a team or a group can overcome that situation and go for the kind of a second stage of innovation? Thank you.
Right. So this question is very good. Sorry. The point here is that, as I was telling you, innovation actually works in two ways. One is the innovation which is a push innovation, and the other one is a pull innovation.
Okay.
So if the company normally works on a pull innovation, the chances of failure rate are negligible because you're working on a technical
Demand.
or a demand coming from back from the market or a feedback from the customer or the customer base which is there. The second part in this thing is, as I said, there is an incremental innovation that takes place and there is a radical innovation. Now, it is safer for the companies to work in incremental innovations rather than radical because that saves the company from bigger failures. And in an incremental innovation, you can go back and forth in your process to improve back again and without losing too much of resource in terms of money and time and people.
Okay.
So that is the way the companies have to make a balance in this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, can I ask, sir?
Please, sir.
I'm Dr. K.K. Jain from Bhopal. First of all, I thank to you for a very nice presentation.
Thank
you
you so
have very clearly defined the innovations, inventions, and pull and push type, push and pull model for
Right.
innovations. And but you have given a lot of industry examples. We need some examples from the technical education field. Right.
May I intervene? May I intervene? I think the
because
requirement
I'm a
is
mechanical
discussed
engineer.
in
Just a
20
minute,
minutes.
madam. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I liked your lecture very much
Okay, sir.
because this is my interest area. Innovations and how to meet the customer satisfaction and delightness.
Right.
And as you have mentioned in your presentation, 4P for this. Why you have not considered the price and people for the innovations?
Okay. So, your point is very valid, and I apologize for that. So but there was a part where I had touched upon that innovation is not necessarily only connected to manufacturing processes and engineering only. If you remember, I had gone back and I had told you that innovation can also be done in the operations, in the way you conduct your services, in the way you do other things like finances. So I give you an example of banks being innovative and trying to save money and making the processes more efficient. The same way, if we are innovative and if we think innovatively, we can always think of ways and means of our teaching processes and of our deliverance, of how we are delivering and how we are communicating, how to improve those processes. That is also part of innovation, sir. So
You have taken a lot of examples, sir, from very good examples as from Kodak film industries and Nokia and other many car manufacturers, and even some service-oriented industries like banking. And we want some examples from education field.
I think
Professor
Go ahead.
Jan,
I think
Professor Jan, please wait. Professor Jan, please wait.
See, I think
That was not the
one question.
requirement given to
One
the
question.
expert,
See,
because we had
Sir,
focused on the module, and the requirement of the committee was it should be for the engineers, and we should not focus only on teachers and teaching and so on. So
Madam, we
I
want
never
the
requested the
engineering
expert to go for engineering part.
engineering
That's
teachers.
my part.
I'm
my
No,
point
saying
is,
we
this
want.
question you ask me,
okay.
I'll answer, but not the
I-
expert, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not the
I
expert.
I think
Mr. Tulsi,
Professor
can I answer,
Tulsi,
please?
she
Yeah.
will discuss about the innovations in technical education, because she is the
Yeah.
senior most. She has seen that how innovation we brought in last 30, 40 years in our country, technical education. So I think later on, not right now, but I'll request Professor Tulsi, madam, to discuss about how innovations were there in technical education and how succeed we are and how we could not succeed as well. Thank you.
Sir, that may be after the module.
Yes,
Once it
yes.
is over, maybe I'll add another component to this. I'll add
Okay,
another component to
thank
this.
you,
Thank you,
madam.
sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, any
So I
more
thank,
question
I thank Mr.
from the
Tulsi for
audience?
asking.
Ji, Professor Karulia, please.
Yeah,
Ji.
just a comment. I just seek your guidance on that. Particularly since we work in government sector, the engineering colleges normally we talk to, polytechnics we talk to, they all belong to government sector.
Right.
In order to become a learning organization, an organization which believes in experimentations and innovations, you rightly said there has to be a cultural shift within the organization and value systems have to be really tailored accordingly. I do appreciate that point very much. The point that I'm forcing is working in government sector with kind of environment where things are more rigid nature and flexibility is lesser. How do we see the experimentations and innovations flourishing in our kind of setup? Any comment and guidance on that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Karolia, sir. Same question.
Sir, you have very rightly said that this is a very tough situation in which mostly the government institutes find themselves. And here you are very correct in pointing out that until unless there is a support